Listen, bro, you're not good at building muscle. In fact, you actually suck at it. But don't worry, there's a way to fix this, because I remember when I first started working out and I thought it was all about just getting the reps in, filling the pump. But if I only knew what I knew now, I would have been able to get the results way faster. So that's why in today's video, I'm gonna list some reasons why you suck at building muscle. And by the end of the video, you're gonna know exactly what you need to do to fix this. Now, when it comes to my journey, all I cared about was getting strong. I really didn't care about building muscle at first because I really wanted to get stronger with my body weight. However, it wasn't until year 2 when I decided that I really wanted to take building muscle a lot more seriously. Now, through that, I increased my repetitions, but what I didn't do was increase my calories. I was eating enough protein, but I just wasn't filling my body with enough calories to actually sustain muscular growth effectively and efficiently. Because the past few years, I'm like, I built some muscle without necessarily bulking, so I should be able to keep it that way. That is not true. Now, you will get some newbie games, the first few years, but after a while, you must take calorie tracking and protein tracking very seriously. In fact, if you want the best results possible and to make sure that you're hitting your calories and protein needed for your bulking or building muscle goal, then I highly recommend that you just track your calories for at least 2 to 3 months just to gain an awareness and understanding of how much you're eating. Now, when it comes to calories, what you need to eat is going to be different for everybody. Some people are more active than others. Some people are more sedentary than others. So what your TDEE or total daily energy expenditure is going to be different and depending on how active you are throughout the day. That's why you have to experiment and test, track your calories to see what works for you and your body. Now, when it comes to your protein intake, what is said to be the most efficient is anywhere between 0.8 grams or 1 grams per pound of body weight. In kilograms, is going to be anywhere from 1.2 to 1.6 grams per kilogram. Now, you probably know that you need to do this, but how do you actually implement this? Well, for me, I actually developed a system that works fairly well, and that is simply by following a meal rule. So for me, first I need to decide how many meals I want to eat throughout the day. 3 meals. Now, how many protein and calories need to be in each meal for me to hit my goal? So if I'm 170 pounds, I want to aim for 160 to 175 grams of protein. So ideally 60 to 70 grams of protein per meal needs to be in each meal. And then if I want to bulk or gain muscle, especially at a slower pace, then I'll probably need to eat anywhere between 900 to 1,000 calories per meal. And lastly, you want to spread your protein throughout the day to maximize your protein synthesis, which is going to also help with you building muscle faster. Now, another reason why you suck at building muscle is actually high levels of stress. And this is something that's often overlooked and most people never think about. And the way this happens in a negative way is this impact on our hormone levels, specifically our cortisol and testosterone. Now, cortisol is known as a stress hormone. And the more cortisol your body has, the more it reaches a state known as being catabolic, which is basically your body breaking down muscle tissue. So if you're in a state of catabolic, you're definitely not building muscle, and that is solely because of your stress levels. Now, recently I did a video talking about testosterone killers, and also cortisol suppresses testosterone if it's too high. And we all know the more testosterone you have, the more muscle you're going to build. So what you need to do is mitigate and prevent your stress levels from rising too high in your everyday life. That way you can maximize your hormones and thus build more muscle. Now, stress is equated to your mental health, and I'm a big advocate of taking care of your mental health, especially for us young men. That is why I'm proud to announce today's sponsor, BetterHelp. Now, building muscle isn't just about lifting weights and eating right, but it's also about having the right mindset. And as I said before, mental stress can actually significantly impact in a negative way our muscle building progress. Now, BetterHelp is the easiest way to get started with therapy, and the best part, it is done all online. Just fill out a questionnaire, and within days, you're matched with a licensed professional who resonates with your needs. With a vast network of therapists specializing in various areas, BetterHelp makes therapy accessible and affordable for everyone. Personally, I think therapy is a great way to communicate your problems, especially if you don't have a positive support group around you. Now, let's be real, everybody has their own internal struggles, including myself. And I know as men are taught to hold everything inside. However, if you just actually let it out and let somebody listen to you, it could actually provide more benefits than negatives. So if you're curious and ready to start online therapy, be sure to visit my link for 10% off your first month. That's going to be betterhelp.com/AustinDunham. I'm going to leave a link down below in the description. All right, reason number 3 why you suck at building muscle is because you're doing too many isolation exercises. Listen, if you guys don't know, there's 2 primary groups of exercises. Number 1 is going to be compound, and number 2 is going to be isolation. Compound exercises should be literally 80% of your routine. Me personally is like 95% of my routine because I know compound exercises are going to give you the most bang for your buck and they work multiple muscle groups. So as I'm doing a pull-up, I'm working my lats, I'm working my biceps, I'm working my forearms, versus I see some guys going there, they might do like one compound exercise, and then the rest of their exercise they choose is nothing but isolations. Now, I'm not saying isolation is bad, but if you're really trying to maximize your muscle growth, I would say take a look at your routine holistically and make sure that it mostly consists of compound exercises. In fact, if you're actually looking to add more volume, what I would try to do is add it with a compound exercise first versus another isolation exercises. Isolation exercises aren't bad, but it's only good if you build that foundation and if you have 80% or 90% of your routine followed around the compound movements. So you probably heard this term progressive overload, and it is the concept of doing more over time. Think about it. If you start off by only being able to do 10 push-ups in a row max, but over time, that gets easier and easier, but you're still only doing 10 push-ups in a row, you're not stimulating the muscle enough to actually see a change. So you need to progressively overload or progressively make things difficult. This was the concept that I've instilled since literally day one. Me coming from a calisthenics background, bodyweight background, our progressive overload was more about just changing progressions. Standard push-up, wide push-up, closed push-up, archer push-up, one arm push-up, planche push-up, handstand push-up. It gets harder and harder. In fact, it almost felt like kind of weird when I really couldn't do any more progressions. But what I figured out is that instead of changing progressions with my hands, what I now do is add weight to myself to overload my body and to still progressively overload. Now, keep in mind, the body is only but so strong, so you can't progressively overload every week, every month, and in some cases, if you've been training a long time, even every year. That's why you need to make these marginal changes in your progressive overload throughout time to produce a higher stimulus. That can even be slowing down the movement. That can even be resting shorter between sets. That can even be micro loading. So instead of adding 5-pound plates to whatever movement you're doing or to yourself, add 2.5, add 1 pound. All these little micro adjustments actually take part in progressive overload, and if you consistently do it over time, your body will be literally forced to change. So always ask yourself, am I still doing the same thing I was doing a few months ago? And if so, that's when you know you need to change something. Now, of course, what gets tracked gets managed, and if you have the ability to track your reps and track your lifts throughout time, then that's how you're gonna see the most and the fastest progress. And lastly, your recovery just sucks. So I'm talking about your sleep, I'm talking about your intensity, I'm talking about your hydration levels, I'm talking about your rest days. Overall, you can only train as hard as you can recover. So if you're not properly recovering, if you're not taking the right tools and you're just going balls to the wall in the gym, going Super Saiyan every single workout, then you are actually severely hindering your muscle growth. And that's why the concept of lower volume training has become more popular. Keeping the intensity high, but lowering the volume so that your body has more time to rest. But when you are in the gym, you're going hard, you're going very, very intense. And in some cases, this might be a better route for a lot of you guys watching this video. Even me myself, I've kind of gone more to a lower volume sort of workout split versus in the past, I'm doing push-pull legs, 30 to 40 sets per week, per muscle group, just literally no time to recover, a vast exercise selection, and I was really killing my body. Now, keep in mind, it did work up to a certain point, but especially as I got older, I found that whenever I started to prioritize just my recovery versus going hard and crazy every time I go in the gym, I actually made more progress. And in some cases, it wasn't just building muscle progress, but in a lot of cases, it was actually my strength. I would go in the gym and then consistently I'll be a lot more stronger. Even my sleep, consistently I would sleep a lot more sound and better. I have more restful sleep, longer REM sessions, longer deep sleep sessions. So just understand and know, if you're not prioritizing your recovery as much as you are with the intensity in the gym, then over time, you're gonna notice its negative effects. All right, guys, that's probably why you suck at building muscle. Don't forget to check out BetterHelp. I'm gonna leave a link down below if you're interested in online therapy. And I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace.